hears that you're out here peacefully protesting, and I wanted to show the respect and come on out and introduce myself, and I'd be happy to, briefly, I have to get inside, but answer any of your questions.
Good luck, Daryl.
What will it take to get you to stop?
No. Let's understand. Let's have a conversation.
Why don't
So
you
concerned about SB-1
Yes, sir.
and SB-743.
Yes.
Are those still going
How much will it cost?
SB-743 is on the governor's desk. SB-1 I held and is sitting on the Senate file still, so that is not, I have not passed that bill.
Will you consider pulling that back? We really don't like that.
Why don't you like it? I want to hear why.
Eminent domain?
96%.
No, wait, you're mixing up the two bills. Let's talk about
streamlining.
Sequence streamlining is on the governor's desk, so that is there. But tell me about SB-1 and why you
This is
object
the
to it.
Sustainable Communities Investment Authority.
Correct.
Yes.
So this creates a new body, a JPA, a Joint Powers Authority.
Yes, it does.
Is it multiple or one community authority it creates?
One.
And that will be...
No, I mean more. One per county.
Yes. And that will hold powers of eminent domain, we understand?
Well, no powers beyond what already exists under state law. The purpose, if I may, of SB-1, several years ago, as you know, which I think is the root of a lot of the concern, is I authored SB-375, which is the...
Which we're looking to
don't like that either.
Well, I understand, and I respect it.
Do you know who could you tell us who drafted SB-375?
I did.
You personally drafted the whole thing. Were there other groups involved in that?
Well, of course. It was
Can you name?
Sure, it was a coalition of the building industry, the environmental community, local governments, including the League of Cities, as well as the affordable housing advocates.
96% of all the American dreams in the Bay Area are going to be part of inefficient land use patterns and be subject to eminent domain
Maybe
here in America.
No, I think that's an
most don't know
overstatement.
about it.
Do you want me to? Do you want me to explain the bill?
Yes.
Or at least a version of it. I'm happy to. I authored the bill because I believe that the current patterns of growth in this state are unsustainable. And I'm not anti-growth. I think that we have to recognize that the population in this state is going to increase. But if we don't build on a smaller footprint and leave some room for open space, for parks, and if we don't focus on reducing the vehicle miles traveled, the time it takes for people to get from home to work or home to where they shop, that our growth is going to be unsustainable. I believe that climate change is a real problem. And so there are two ways to deal with it. One is to just say you're against any growth. The other is to say we ought to at least create an incentive for the regions of our state to develop land use patterns that accommodate growth, but do so in a way that reduces that urban footprint and vehicle miles traveled. So I authored the bill. Excuse me. It was not just a bill that was supported by one side or the other. Again, it was a broad coalition. And now SB-1 is intended as really an imperfect but a substitute for the loss of redevelopment dollars, because if we don't have a source for local governments to fund economic development, we will not be able to build transit, we will not be able to build infrastructure that supports sustainable community. So that's that's a little bit of my background and the background for why I introduced the bill, why I introduced SB-1. And I understand that there are people who disagree, that they would like to see...
Most people don't even know about it. Don't you think such a life-changing thing, transforming the life of 9 million people, should be old hat on the ballot, on the front pages of the paper?
Sure. I can tell you that 80 members of the Assembly, 40 members of the Senate, and a governor elected statewide voted for the bill through 2 years of probably 20 public hearings, and intense public review, and the Governor Schwarzenegger signed the bill. So I think the process
Public
was
review, kind of like the visioning meetings for Plan Bay Area.
Well, I'm happy to.
We're happy to have some growth.
Yes.
So the nature of the growth in Marin. Marin is a very beautiful place that people have a great amount of respect for. Many people, like myself, moved from the South Bay to Marin. We love the way that it is here. We accept some growth. But I think what you're creating here does not fit Marin. And some people feel that what you're doing is a one-size-fits-all Bay Area plan. Now, SB 375, does that basically focused exclusively on emissions from cars and light trucks, sir?
Yes.
Now, what's concerning is the smart train that they're building here in Marin. it's actually going to generate far more emissions than cars and light trucks, unless it's got 82 riders on it at all times, which is highly unlikely. So once you put, because SB-375 focused things so tightly just on cars and light trucks, it misses the complete picture of reducing greenhouse gases, which we all want to reduce. And once you put transit into the mix, which SB-375 kept it out of the mix and consideration, it focused exclusively on reducing greenhouse gas emissions from cars and light trucks.
Transit is the answer to reducing the
Only if you can fill it.
What Plan Bay Area proved was that transit-oriented development fails.
Can I say something about Plan Bay Area for just a moment?
Please.
Okay. And this is not in any effort to sort of pass the buck, because I'm the author of the law, and so I'm responsible, and I'm proud of the law, even though you disagree with me. Hold on. Excuse me, sir. Just talking. The way the law is set up, of course, is that it is up to the regions of the state to define their own plans. That's not a state function.
Yes,
and so, so Plan Bay Area, if your complaint is that the Plan Bay Area plan is not consistent with what SB 375 is intended, I think it is. But if you don't think that it is,
that's a different
that's not your concern.
My concern is you fixated the problem that you're trying to solve on cars and light trucks, and you've ignored that transit can actually generate more emissions from cars and light trucks.
So you're anti-transit?
No, sir. I'm all for reducing greenhouse gases in the most efficient way, regardless of whether it's cars and light trucks or transit. And
we could have done more buses. We could have done low-income vouchers for folks to actually have a choice in what kind of transportation they want to take. The other point I wanted to make was why in SB 375 did it not allow communities to reuse buildings that were already there and have it count towards arena numbers? That actually services developers and big labor. Why was that even put in there?
Well, and why is our life being defined by a regional plan? I mean, since when does the citizenry have to have their lives, accountable to a metropolitan planning organization that's supposed to integrate land use, housing, transportation?
Let me answer that question.
We don't want that.
The Plan Bay Area, no city or county has to follow any part of the regional plan.
Yes,
you don't have to.
Broad.
No. Major transportation funding goes to projects that are consistent with reducing vehicle miles traveled. That is correct.
So Robert Severo is the father of transit-oriented development, and he specifically says there is something called suburban bias. And in an area such as Marin, which matches suburban bias, this is where you have free and plentiful free parking and low densities already. You don't achieve the reduction in vehicle trips that you would in an area that's much closer into a city, such as Emeryville.
San Francisco.
And so this is not a match for that kind of development.
You think the plan is just too much geography?
When you build this, you're going to put a lot of cars on the freeway, and you're going to jam up that freeway.
Okay. I'm happy to answer one or two, or to listen to one or two more concerns.
Have you
then
seen that?
I've got to get inside.
Have you seen this housing out in East Bay?
No. This is half a mile down the road.
Yeah, no. Have you seen this stuff?
This is half a mile down the road in Corte Madera.
That's not Marin County. That's not why we live here. We love this place, not because of that, not because of you.
What's wrong with affordable workforce?
Do you live in a place like that?
Nothing's wrong with it.
I have.
You have.
What's wrong with this house? Why doesn't it belong in Marin?
Because Marin has a special character.
What does that mean?
Where we look
Who's
at
going to live here? Who's going to live here?
180 let me tell you.
Well, if the globalists
Wait a minute. Are we talking? Hold on. Are we talking about a ghetto?
Why are you telling us how to live?
I'm not telling you how to live.
Yes, you are. Telling us how to live.
This is. Okay, excuse me. This is where we disagree.
You think you can tell us how to live, and we don't want it.
Okay, I got it. Let's get at the root of it. If some of the concern here is that you don't want, hold on, excuse me, so I just heard a ghetto. Excuse me, if I hear some people saying that they,
I'm with you.
that they don't want, that some people don't want people of low income to live in dense housing.
Don't go there.
Don't
go there at
That's
all.
what she said. That's what she said.
Those units that are affordable housing, other 162 are market rate housing.
Then what's wrong with
I don't
it?
care if the
Then
purple
what's wrong with it?
person is
Warm and
purple with
fuzzy.
green hair. We
What's
don't
wrong?
want the
Why?
car next to
Why?
the
The
freeway.
plan dictates 20 units per
Let's
rental.
call it what it
The
is.
plan
It's smart
dictates how we're
growth.
going
It's
to live.
UN directed. We know where it comes
Okay.
from.
So do you know about
And
the
regionalism and the empowerment of unelected boards define a Soviet model of governance.
Let me just say this.
We live in the United States
Okay.
of America.
But that housing was approved by
I understand.
who pulled out of ABEC.
Let me just say this. And then I have to get back inside. I came out because I respect the fact that concerned people have banded together to express themselves forcefully but peacefully. And I'm very happy to have this conversation. I take some of what you say, and I understand that there may be different people who have different reasons for opposing the plan. And I would just encourage you to continue to be peaceful. And
Of course it will.
Well, we're going to be legal. We're going to go legal.
and respectful, and
It'll make it more expensive.
But let me just say with respect to the
thank you for hearing my point of view.
I appreciate your government. But let me just say that the people that did Plan Bay Area were entirely disrespectful to us.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
They rammed it down our throats.
Especially Steve Kinsey.
Well, my names are all over your signs, and I honor you for your for exercising your freedom of speech and freedom of.
Thank you for coming.
Anthropogenic global warming.